previous lesson, we started to take a look at the different types of number formatting that you can apply to values in cells. And in this lesson, I just want to shift the focus specifically to applying date and time formatting, because there are a couple of little things that are really useful to know. Now, if you take a look at this little table, you'll see that I've got 3 columns: short date, long date, and time. And in this short date column, take a look at what I have in here. I have some seemingly random numbers. And this is something you'll come across fairly frequently in Excel. And I know for sure that when I first started learning Excel and I was sent a spreadsheet that had all of these weird numbers where dates should be, I was super confused as to why that was happening. Now, if you do see numbers where you're expecting dates, all this means is that you have the incorrect number formatting applied to your column or the range of cells. So what is this number? Well, basically all dates in Excel are numbers. And according to Excel, the start of the universe was the 1st of January 1900. Excel considers that date to be day number 1. And you can see that if I type in the 1st of the 1st, 1900, and hit enter, if I change this to general formatting, you can see it's showing me the number 1 because that is day 1. And so the numbers that you see here are basically the number of days past the 1st of January 1900. And because I have general formatting applied to these cells, it's showing the number as opposed to the date. So the easiest way to fix this is simply to jump up to the drop down and then either choose short date format or long date format. Now I'm going to choose short date, and that immediately converts those to the correct date format. And of course, if I want to display these in the long date format, I can select my cells again, and this time I think I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut Control-Shift-Down to make that selection. Up to the drop down, and this time long date, and there I have that long date format applied. Again, note the formula bar. Even though we've changed the way that this date looks in the cells, the underlying number is still the original date. Now, as most of you can probably tell, I am in the UK, and the way that we write our dates is a little bit different to other parts of the world. We write the date as the 1st of January 2021, whereas a lot of countries write the date as January the 1st, 2021. Now, for me, I do a lot of work with American clients, so what I'll normally make sure I do is that I switch my date format around so that it's not confusing for the people who are watching the video. And again, this is something that you need to do in your Windows settings. You need to select the correct region and then make sure that Excel is set up to use the region that you have set in your Windows settings. So if you take a look at the top section here, it says Match Microsoft Windows. Another thing to look out for here is if you open up the number formatting window, you can also change your locale for dates as well. So I have mine set to English United Kingdom, but if I wanted to change that to English United States, I could select that, and notice it flips those dates round the other way. So now effectively we have the month first, the day second, and then the year. So just be aware of that locale setting as well when you're using things like dates. Now, the final thing to show you here is the time formatting. And again, if you have a bunch of times written out in your spreadsheet, you may choose to format these in any number of different ways. So if we click the drop down, I currently just have the regular time formatting applied, which uses a 24-hour clock, and it shows me the hours, minutes, and seconds. If I want to modify this, once again, I can click the arrow to jump into my number format options, and I can choose any of these that I have in the list. So maybe I want it to display as a 12-hour clock with AM or PM at the end. So I can select that number format and apply it, and that's how that's going to look. And if I really wanted to get granular and customize exactly how these time and dates are looking, that is again when I would go to custom, and I would either select one of the formats in this custom list, or I can create my own from scratch. As I said, outside of the scope of this beginner's course, but just be aware that you do have the ability to do that. Another thing that's worth noting here is that you don't necessarily always have to apply formatting to values within cells. You can apply formatting to empty columns, cells, and rows as well. So if I select these 3 columns, which currently have no formatting applied, if I select all 3 of them and I switch these to short date format, it means that when I type something into here, it's going to do its best to convert it into a date.